Hey Singapore, this is former England striker Les Ferdinand. For all your football news, stay tuned to the best in sport on 938 Live.
From 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sport. Cheers.
You're listening to Singapore's longest running and only sports talk show on radio, 15 years and still going strong. A good Saturday to you and welcome to SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Noah Tan and joining me today as my co-host is Noor Farhan.
Well, thanks Noah, and today we're going to be previewing the Commonwealth Games which will begin just next week actually. It's set to be held in the Scottish city of Glasgow for the first time in the history of the Games, and our Team Singapore contingent will be sending 70 athletes to compete for honours in 7 sporting disciplines.
That's right, Farhan, and I personally can't wait to see how we fare this year. I mean, now in the previous edition of the Games in New Delhi, Team Singapore managed to bring home a total of 31 medals, 11 of which were gold. So I wonder how will they do this time round?
Well, I'm sure we'll all be hoping to surpass that medal haul, and looking at the athletes we're sending over to Glasgow, I think we do stand a pretty good chance of seeing that happen.
Well, I certainly hope so, Farhan, because, we have a lot of talented athletes all going over to Glasgow. Alright, but let's get down to business because we have a very special guest on the line right now. He's none other than our national sprinter, Gary Yeo. Hi, Gary.
Hi there.
Hi.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Now, first of all, Gary, we're just about 5 days away from the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. So how are you feeling as we edge, closer to the start?
I'm feeling excited and grateful for the chance. Yeah, to be able to represent Singapore on the Commonwealth Games.
Right, now, tell us a bit about your preparations for the Games. How has it been like?
Right now, the team is in the midst of the ending phase already. We are actually tapering down our training preparation for the Commonwealth Games. So basically, we are trying to go into the Games relaxed and at 100% body condition.
Alright, Gary, you're regarded as the fastest man in Singapore, so we'll all be keeping a keen eye on your performance at the Games for sure. But do share with us what your expectations and targets for this year's Games are.
Unfortunately, I I got a bit of injury at the moment. So I'm optimistic that it will recover in time. But I'm just hoping to make it to the second round individually. For the relay, I'm actually carrying greater hopes. We hope to make it to the final. And that's about it.
All right, Gary, you mentioned an injury. Can you elaborate on that? What injury is that, and how did you pick it up?
It was a inner thigh injury picked up in a training. Yep.
But is it serious enough to put you out of the track for the start?
No, I doubt so.
Well, that's good news, isn't it, Noah?
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in the country. Can you imagine if he's injured? But I'm sure for the relay, he's got good substitutes to replace him on the track. Yeah.
And I'm sure he's receiving the best medical care that he can get, right?
Certainly, now.
Yeah, and okay, Gary, do share with us, how's the mood like in the track and field camp ahead of the Games? Is everyone confident and raring to go?
I think being our second Games, I think everybody is excited. At the same time, we know what to do and what to expect. It's good that the female team is there as well. It's probably their first time there, and I think the guys being the seniors, I think they will be willing to guide them along at the same time. Yeah.
Now, Gary, as we all know, it's not your first Commonwealth Games. You're one of those who competed in the 2010 edition of the Games in New Delhi. Could you tell us a bit about that? What did you learn about your experience there?
I think the New Delhi experience was really good. The crowd was fantastic. Everything was well run. I think contrary to reports, but I guess every race is a new experience for us, and every race that we have done is also an experience that we build on. So I guess what we do, we try to do better each time. Yeah.
And the competitive field was pretty tough, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, having to compete with the Jamaicans, but being a competitive field, it makes it all the more exciting for us, I guess.
Now, Johan Blake, of course, is one of the stars who won't make it, but are you looking forward to the rest of the field? Who in particular for the 100-meter sprint?
I think at this moment in time, we are still not sure who is taking part. But the major countries, we are like thrilled to be able to race with them. Hopefully, be able to, perform at our best against them as well.
And of course, there will be several CWG debutants in the Team Singapore contingent heading to Glasgow with you, not necessarily from the track and field, but from the other sports. So, have you been tasked to play the role of a mentor to these athletes who are not as experienced as you? I mean, you've raced in so many games. You've even raced against Tyson Gay as well.
Well, I guess sometimes people do look up to me to provide some advice or feedback, but I guess everybody having be able to meet it to Commonwealth Games, I think that shows how well they have prepared, and I think they wouldn't really need the experience of.
All right, now well, Gary, what are your plans then after the Commonwealth Games?
Well, we have the Asian Games to prepare for. It's the next marquee event for the year.
And that's all leading up to the SEA Games next year, isn't it? Where you are, are you looking forward to competing in the new Sports Hub?
Yeah, I've been there, and I think it's really wonderful. The world-class stadium, world-class track, and I think fast times can be expected as well.
And finally, do you have anything you'd want to say to our Team Singapore fans?
Well, do support the relay team. We are running on the first, and hopefully we will make it to the finals. Do Singapore proud.
All right, thanks very much for your time, Gary. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. All the best to you and your team for the Commonwealth Games.
All right, thank you.
All right, that was national sprinter Gary Yeo speaking to us about his upcoming trip to Glasgow for the Commonwealth Games.
You're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and today we turn the focus on the Team Singapore contingent, which will compete for honours at the upcoming Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. And if you've just joined us, well, we've heard from national sprinter Gary Yeo.
Now moving on to another sport which is familiar to all of us, and which has won us quite a few gold medals at last year's SEA Games. And I'm, of course, talking about the sport of swimming. Now, the likes of Joseph Schooling and Tao Li will all be representing the Republic at this year's Games. So I'm pretty confident of a good showing this year.
That's right, Farhan. And one swimmer I'll be looking out for will be up-and-coming star Noor Marina Chan. She's literally been making waves in the local swimming scene, and the Commonwealth Games will be the biggest event she's ever competed in. Farhan, you managed to catch up with Marina recently, right?
That's right. Now, she caught the eye last June in the Southeast Asian Swimming Championships, where she set a new championship record and a new personal best in the 50 meters butterfly with a time of 27.49 seconds. Now, what does this mean, Noah? I'm sure you know what this means. This means Marina's achievements puts her third in the all-time rankings in the country in the 50 meters fly, and the only people who are ahead of her are Tao Li and Jocelyn Yeo. Now, Marina will also be representing the Republic at the Youth Olympic Games in August, and I managed to catch up with the 16-year-old recently, and I first asked her how she felt to be competing in both the Commonwealth Games and the Youth Olympic Games.
What I feel is that I'm really thankful to be able to qualify for both the events, because YOG by itself is a really big event, and then Commonwealth is another big event. So for both, to qualify for both is something that I feel really happy with. But I would say the challenges I'll face is definitely trying to keep my top form for both competitions, because as they are back to back, so my training schedule would change quite a bit.
Marina, you recently competed in the Southeast Asian Championships. Would you say that you're peaking at the right time?
I would say that my Southeast Asia Championships was I would say for me to prepare for the upcoming bigger games like the Commonwealth and the YOG. But I'm really happy with my performance at the Sea Champs, because I did break my personal best, and then with that time I was able to qualify for the Asian Games as well. So yeah.
Now, are you putting less importance on the upcoming Commonwealth Games compared to the big one next year, which is the SEA Games on home soil?
No, I would say that honestly, for me it doesn't matter how big the competition is, because when I go on a competition, my mindset is to basically give my best, my 100% for every single competition I go for. So for me, it doesn't really matter which one is more important than which, because when I go there, my main aim is to compete and do my best. But definitely, like for this year, the end of this year, the aim is definitely to qualify into the SEA Games team for next year.
Now tell us a bit about your background in school.
This year I'm 17, but I'm currently 16 now. I study Anglo-Chinese Junior College. I'll be taking my A-levels next year. Yeah, I would say that juggling it is a challenge because right now I'm going through my exam seasons, and then when I go for competitions I'll be missing classes, but I'll work closely with both my coaches and my teachers to be able to juggle my schedule.
Now, is your sporting career a welcome distraction from the school stress?
Yeah, I would say like definitely, because it's like, you know, in a classroom such a confined area, then you go there every day, like it's a bit monotonous. So like to be able to go out and see the world is like something like a 16-year-old won't mind, definitely.
Now, what have your seniors advised you with regard to the big competitions?
I would say because I went to the SEA Games last year, I would say that definitely my other teammates, they gave me advice like basically don't stress out too much like right before your race, because stress doesn't really help like right before your race.
And why didn't you compete in Myanmar last year?
No, because I was supposed to be in the relay team, but then I had my O-level, so like I was a bit like I would say like I stopped training for a while because I had to focus on my O-level. So then when I went for SEA Games, I was a bit unfit, so then I gave my first spot to someone else.
Now, as a swimming fan yourself, are you surprised by the rise of the female swimmers in Thailand?
Actually, I would say that all my competitors are big threats because like as competitors we have to compete against each other, and there's only one winner. So I would say that when I look at my competitors, right, they are basically competitors, but they're also friends like outside of the water. So with Thailand, I would say that the threat was always there, just that they are really coming up. I would say because most of them train overseas, like Australia and all. So I would say because you know how the Australia teams in the Olympics are really good. So I guess they're adopting their trainings, like tactics and all.
And that was national swimmer Marina Chan speaking to Farhan there.
And next up, we check in with the Republic's #1 men's badminton player, Derek Wong. This is his second Commonwealth Games campaign. And our sports editor, Raj Kumar, first asked about his preparations.
I am very prepared for the Commonwealth Games. My coach actually have stepped up intensity of training. These few weeks has been rather taxing on my body and my mental because the increase of the training timing as well as the intensity. So definitely I'm very prepared for this upcoming Commonwealth Games.
So when you say that the intensity of your training has risen, maybe you can give us like a glimpse of what you're talking about.
Normally training would last about maybe 6 hours for one entire day. So now I'll be starting earlier, so I start at about 8 o'clock instead of 8:30. So an additional half an hour in the morning and then about an additional 1 hour in the afternoon session.
Now, having gained the experience of having competed at the Olympic Games, at the SEA Games, and even at the All England a couple of months ago, how is that helping in your preparations for the Commonwealth Games in Scotland?
All these other tournaments would play a part because they are considered major games as well. So very important. They're considered like very important games in the badminton circuit. Having played all these tournaments and then going to the Commonwealth Games, like pre-preparations before we get into the Commonwealth Games. So it gets us mentally prepared for that kind of major games. You know.
Derek, what is the expectation that you've set for yourself in Scotland?
The expectations would be to actually try to match my previous Commonwealth Games, which is getting into the quarterfinals, or even go one step further and try to make it to the semis or the finals.
Okay, and what can we expect from your other 9 shuttlers who are representing the Lion City?
My other compatriots, they are ranked quite high in the world, and I think that they have a very, very high chance of making it to the semi-finals or maybe even the finals for this Commonwealth Games. So they have a good chance of bringing back a medal.
Now, Derek, following the end of the Games in Scotland, what's next for you? Are you preparing to go for the Asian Games in October?
For now, whether I'm going for the Asian Games or not is still pending. It's all pending on how I perform at the Commonwealth Games. Not only badminton is going for Commonwealth Games, and I would like to wish all the other sports good luck for their upcoming games as well. Let's all do Singapore proud. Come back with a medal and to celebrate our National Day as well.
And that was Singapore's national shuttler Derek Wong.
And we continue our Commonwealth Games countdown with a look at gymnastics. They brought home 1 silver and a bronze medal from their last outing in 2010. And Raj caught up with silver winning medalist Lim Hin Wei, and she first talked about her feelings ahead of the Games.
Okay, right now it's really pre-competition, so it's all about getting in the consistency and the fine-tuning of the routines. So down to the smallest details. That's what we are focusing on at the moment. And as well as, in terms of my preparation, there are ups and downs. So I think that's to be expected of any sport, any athlete, because it's never smooth sailing all the time. So I think with that little bit of fluctuation, that's okay. So everything's in control. Right now, the plan is for me to compete all 4 because I'm generally an all-rounder gymnast. So there's vault, uneven bars, balance beam, and floor exercise.
Okay, now 4 years ago in Delhi at the 2010 edition, you came back with a silver medal in the women's beam event.
Yeah, that's right.
How is that experience helping you with this trip to Glasgow?
This is going to be my second Commonwealth Games, so it's great because I know the countries that I'm a bit more familiar with the countries that are participating, and as well as in how the competition is run, it's going to be pretty similar, I would say, except maybe a bit of scheduling differences. But other than that, any competition that I've been for would actually count or would help in this coming Commonwealth Games, because every competition is a new experience, an accumulation of experience, and that definitely adds to how I can compose myself, how I manage the competition this time.
Earlier you said that you won't know which events particularly that you'll be competing in until the day before the event, but have you sort of set yourself a personal target?
Yes, definitely, for me as an all-rounder, I hope that I'll be up on all 4 events, because that's what I have been doing. And whoever who is selected to represent or to be the best, we have 5 gymnasts on the team, so best for each event. I just hope that any routines that I perform, the scores will be used in the calculation, in the tabulation of the team score, which is the best 3 scores to count on each event. So I really want the best team score for Singapore, and doing my routine successfully, that's something that I've set myself a personal target.
Now, talking about the team, you are part of a 13-member squad that's going up to Glasgow. That's 8 women and 5 men. What is the overall expectation of the team?
Every discipline will have their own targets to achieve. But I think in general, all of us have been working really hard, and I think the underlying thing for all of us is that we give it our all. We're not going to, it's going to be a no monkey business thing. We are going out there to give it our best shot, because anything we do is for Team Singapore.
So what's next for you after the Commonwealth Games?
After Commonwealth Games, I come back. It will be back to school in my final semester, and at the same time preparing for the upcoming Asian Games in September. Yeah.
And that was Lim Hin Wei, who's part of a 13-member squad competing in gymnastics. Well, that's all the time we have for you in part 1 of SportsZone. And coming up after the news, we'll find out how some of the Team Singapore athletes from the other sporting disciplines such as weightlifting, table tennis and shooting are preparing for the Commonwealth Games. We'll also hear from the contingent chef de mission Lau Teo Ping on his thoughts about the Games. So stay tuned, cause it's all happening right here on SportsZone, only on 938 Live.
Hi Singapore, this is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You're jamming with the best in sports on 938 Live.
Welcome back to part 2 of SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Noah Tan together with my colleague Noor Farhan as we get straight down to the second segment of the show. Now, if you've just joined us, today's show is all about the upcoming Commonwealth Games, which will officially begin this coming Thursday. And in the first half, we spoke to 4 Team Singapore athletes who will be representing the Republic at the Games. They were national sprinter Gary Yeo, swimmer Marina Chan, shuttler Derek Wong, and gymnast Lim Hin Wei.
That's right, Noah. And as you know, Team Singapore will be sending down 70 athletes from 7 sporting disciplines to compete in the Commonwealth Games. Games. So we've still got 3 more sports to cover in our discussion today, and they are table tennis, weightlifting and shooting.
Yes, but before we go on to those 3 sports, let's first take a listen to what the Team Singapore's chef de mission for the Commonwealth Games had to say, because I managed to have a chat with him recently, and I first asked him, his name is Lau Teo Ping by the way, what his expectations for the Games were.
Well, I think it's been 4 years hence since the last Commonwealth Games. And so in terms of expectations, we expect the athletes, and some of whom were at the last Commonwealth Games, and in between they have also, in fact, participated in other games. We expect them to definitely improve on their personal best. And hopefully, with their personal best, it will bring them closer to medal opportunities. So that's the kind of expectations I think we expect of each and every one of the athletes.
Is there a particular figure that you are looking at?
Well, I think, you just base it on the last games in New Delhi. I think we should, in fact, improve on that, here and there.
As the chef de mission for the Team Singapore contingent, how have your preparations been like?
Well, the preparations have been on a number of fronts. One of which is that the athletes have all been gearing up already over the last 1 year, and the table tennis team and the swimming teams are at their respective training camps. One in Europe, and the table tennis team is in Europe, and the swimmers are in Surrey. And the rest of the teams who are training at home will be on board the flight on 18th of July, this Friday.
Okay, and let's talk a bit about the sport of weightlifting. Both Scott Wong and Louis Chua will be flying the flag high for the Republic in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
We have not won any medals in this sport since 1986. So how do you think the 2 weightlifters will do this time round?
Well, they have proven that they are capable of lifting weights to qualify to be at the Commonwealth Games. And hopefully between when they qualified and how they have been progressing, I think it'll be a wonderful experience for them, plus also an opportunity for Singapore that they may put on the board the first weightlifting medal since then,
Okay, and of course, you mentioned table tennis previously, and we are all expecting our paddlers to do us proud again. They won 6 gold medals at the previous games, so all eyes will be on them this time round. Are you confident they'll be able to handle the pressure and do as well or even better this year?
Well, they have been on the circuit, all the table tennis players, and they are now training very hard, I believe in Austria, if I'm not mistaken. So, their program, their intensity, the way they are focused, I'm sure they will, do us proud at the Commonwealth Games.
Now, apart from the sport of table tennis, many are expecting us to win medals from gymnastics, swimming and shooting. But what about the other 2 sports in badminton and athletics? Can we expect any surprises from both these sports, you think?
Well, you never know. I mean, in badminton, I think we did a surprise win also in New Delhi. Some of these sports could also be on the medal hunt. And I think each and every one of the athletes are definitely geared towards that kind of mentality, to really go down there and win and not just go down there and participate. And that message has been passed on to them, and I think they are very much preparing themselves to do just that.
Now, across the board, from the 7 sports, are there any athletes that you think we should keep an eye out on?
I think you should keep an eye on all the athletes. I mean, there are those that have been there, before, and those who are new. And I think it will be a good treat for Singaporeans here in Singapore if you are covering their participation. That all of them are definitely dedicated towards doing well. Some using their past experience, some going there for the first time, and definitely all out win for Singapore.
And finally, what are you expecting from Glasgow as the host of the Commonwealth Games?
Well, I've been there before in February. Then it was cold, but at this very moment the sun is out. It's a lot warmer than in February, and from the reports I've received so far, it's been very comfortable. 20 degrees in a day, it may drop to 9 degrees, 10 degrees in the night. And one of the things that we have been telling our athletes who are there already or who are going, that they definitely have to keep warm, especially during the night, because they may not necessarily be so used to that kind of chill factor or chill element that you're going to get in Glasgow. I understand the accommodation is actually very excellent. We have seen it, and we believe the location that they have given us is only 3 minutes from the dining hall and very close by the transport center. So I think, it's going to be a very comfortable, very enjoyable, and it's left to each and every one of the athletes to then deliver their part. And we've got also a very good supporting group who are very experienced so far in all the games, and they'll be there to help them and push them along.
And that was Lau Teo Ping, who's the chef de mission for the Team Singapore contingent heading to the Commonwealth Games.
Well, moving on to the sport of athletics again. Now, we heard from sprinter Gary Yeo earlier in the show, and it's time now to hear from another runner. Only this time, this athlete will be running a little further than just 100 or 200 meters in Glasgow. Well, who am I talking about, Noah? Well, it's none other than Singapore's top marathoner, Mok Ing Ren. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the 26-year-old's achievements, he became the Republic's first male athlete to win the gold medal in the marathon at the Southeast Asian Games last year.
And you know what, Farhan? He's set to make history again soon, this time as the first Singaporean male athlete to compete in the marathon at the Commonwealth Games. Well, I managed to catch up with Ingrid yesterday afternoon, and I asked him how he felt ahead of the upcoming Games.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity to compete in the Commonwealth Games. This will be one of the highest level competitions that I'm competing for Singapore, and it's a great honour to don the national colours for this race.
Okay, now it's just about a week or so to the Games, and I'm sure you've been training hard so far. So do share with us how your preparations have been like.
Training has been going on quite well until about the last 2 to 3 weeks, where I actually developed a mount shin injury. So I've been doing a lot of cross training on an elliptical machine and cycling machines to offload the stress on the bones. But things are going quite well, and I look forward to starting to run again over the next few days. And the marathon will be on Sunday, so hopefully everything will fall into place on race day.
Could you just explain or elaborate a little more about the shin splint injury that you mentioned?
I think it started developing like maybe 1.5 months ago. Started to feel niggling discomfort, but I thought it would go away with some basic treatment that I rendered myself, but it didn't really go away, so I had to seek further treatment with the doctors at the Singapore Sports Institute. So now we are really focusing on strengthening the lower leg muscles and see how we can offload the bone stress.
And how's the recovery process coming along? Is it much better now? Or?
It's definitely much better. Yeah, because I think I managed to stop it quite early. So hopefully it'll go away soon.
Okay, and Mr. Lau Teo Ping, who's the Team Singapore chef de mission for the Commonwealth Games, believes we'll be able to surpass the 31 medal haul from the 2010 Games. On your end, how confident are you of getting a medal?
I think we need to be honest with ourselves with the standard competition that we're facing at the Commonwealth Games for the marathon, because you're talking about runners from Kenya who are really elite professional athletes, so it's going to be a tough fight for a medal, but I hope to really run my best race on the day and try and gain as much experience as I can.
So what's the timing you'll be hoping to achieve?
Because of my recent setback with my shin problems, I hope I can even run on race day, and hopefully it'll be decent.
Okay, and apart from the prospect of maybe getting your best timing or shaving off some minutes of your best timing, what else are you hoping to take away from Glasgow, perhaps in terms of experience or personal development?
Definitely, because at a race at the Commonwealth Games, we meet a lot of other athletes from over the world, and we hope to make some new friends and possible potential training partners over the next few years as I try and train for qualify for the Olympics in 2016.
Okay, now the weather is expected to be much cooler in Glasgow than it is in Singapore. I think the temperature is estimated to range from 10 to 20 degrees. So how is that going to impact your performance, you think?
I think for the marathon, the colder the better, and we will definitely do much better than running a marathon in Singapore. So I expect that to be a big advantage to my running.
So you have experience in running in cooling weather, right?
Yep, definitely. So recently I went to Christchurch and Gold Coast for a few races, and cold weather definitely helps.
Tell us a bit more about your recent races.
In the first week of June, I went to Christchurch for a half marathon, where I set a national best for the half marathon. The temperature over there was about actually below 5 degrees. It was really cold, but during the run it actually felt really good. Then I went to Gold Coast for a 10-kilometer race, which was about 10 to 18 degrees, similar to what we were experiencing in Glasgow, and it was a good experience.
Okay, and finally, I understand you're still in national service and will ORD next year, where you'll then train full-time to qualify for the 2016 Olympics. So how do you think the experience of competing in the Commonwealth Games will help you with your Olympic dream?
Running in the championship race is very different from running a time trial race, like in Gold Coast and so on, and it's going to be a very interesting experience. And at the same time, hopefully trying to make tie-ups with other athletes and see how we can train with, over the next 2 years.
So after the Commonwealth Games, what are your plans?
After the Commonwealth Games, really get back to work, complete my national service, and looking forward to really going professional in April next year.
And that was national marathoner Mok Ing Ren. Ing Ren, of course, just received a $60,000 cash sponsorship from NTUC Income to help him fulfill his quest to qualify for the 2016 Olympics in Rio. And I'm sure he can expect more sponsorship deals to follow if he does well at the Commonwealth Games.
All right, then let's move on from the cardiovascular intensive sport of marathon running onto something that involves more muscular strength and power. I'm talking, of course, about weightlifting, as Scott Wong and Louis Chua are representing the Lion City at the upcoming Games. They're in China as part of a 10-day training program. Well, Raj spoke to Scott and first asked about his preparations for his very first Commonwealth Games.
Right now, I'm in the Hainan Provincial Training Hall, and training is like double session every day, and we tend to do a bit of technique. That's my weakness. So we start off with a lot of technical work in the mornings, just doing really light weights and making sure that is about 100%, just doing like snatches and a lot of work. And in the afternoon, then we'll start to do a bit heavier, like using 150 to 160 kilos and doing a lot of pulls, really. And hopefully that will give me a technical edge in the competition.
Which weight division will you be competing in?
I'm right now competing in the over 105 kilogram category. That means it's the largest weight category. It's actually a snatch and a clean and jerk. So the snatch event, you take the bar from the floor all the way up into above your head in one movement. But in the clean and jerk, you put it to your chest, you stand up, and then you put it above your head. So, yeah.
So between the snatch and the clean and jerk techniques, which is the one that you probably specialize in?
Right now, I think my clean and jerk is a bit better simply because it's a smaller movement, so there's a lot of margin of error. But that's why right now I think I'm working a bit on my snatch because it's my weakness. Yeah.
Now, Scott, which other international meets have you been to, and how will that experience benefit you as you prepare for your campaign in Scotland?
Right now, I think I've been for weightlifting. I've been to the World Championships, which was held in October last year, and that definitely put me on the global stage. Because if I can prepare and compete at a global stage, then it's a bit better for another international competition such as the Commonwealth Games, because it's quite big. But in the past, as a track and field athlete, I've competed in the SEA Games, and as a junior and youth athlete, I also competed in all the SEA Juniors and Asian Junior competitions. So that definitely helped me. It's actually true. I converted last September to weightlifting.
The main reason being?
The main reason was that there wasn't a lot of support from the Athletics Association, and since the Commonwealth Games was coming up and the Weightlifting Association thought that I had a lot of potential, I decided to give it a try. And true enough, I'm in the Commonwealth Games, so I guess that was a good move.
That's a very interesting story. And for the fact that you actually went to the World Championships, can I just ask, how did you fare?
I didn't come last, which is really good. I placed 24th upon 26. It was actually my very first competition, and I lifted, I think, 275 kilograms in total. So that was in October last year.
Is 275 your personal best?
No, in May this year, I lifted 312 kilograms to qualify for the Commonwealth Games, and I'm looking to hit 320 kilos for the Commonwealth Games this time.
So is that your target for the Games in Scotland, to lift 320? And where do you think your main challenge will come from in terms of the opponents?
I think my main opponent is actually another Singaporean. He's called Louis Chua, because both of us are the only two representatives for Singapore in weightlifting, and both of us are very closely placed. Like, I think he's aiming for 320 to 325 as well. So it will just be interesting to see who, gets better in the competition.
Well, that's a shame that you might get to, compete against your own teammate. So there's no chance of the two of you being split into different divisions or the different groups.
No, because we only qualified for this division, but it's always just a healthy competition. Because any competition is welcome. There is no it's a bit of a shame. I mean, that's the way it is. But I think both of us kind of enjoy it, and we are actually training in Hainan together right now. Yeah, we are just pushing each other on, and so it should be good for weightlifting in general.
Scott, maybe you can say a few words on Coach Wu.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Coach Wu is actually a really exceptional coach, because at his prime, he was like the second in China, and he's just an extremely talented and knowledgeable person. So under his guidance, I was able to qualify for the Commonwealth only after 7 months of joining weightlifting. So he definitely has the goods.
And after the Commonwealth Games, what's next for you, Scott?
Because there's not going to be weightlifting the SEA Games in 2015, I decided to try to qualify for the Olympics by hitting a 370 total by 2016. and then I'm gonna try for a medal in 2017 SEA Games, and I will aim for a gold in the Commonwealth Games 2018 in the 105 kilogram category. That's the aim.
What are your final words to us in Singapore, and maybe for the rest of your teammates that are bound for Scotland?
I think everybody just has to, all of us, all the athletes that have gone definitely have planned to go for a very, very long time. So I think any support will be appreciated because, all of us, have put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the training halls or in wherever we are. So, we are also doing it for Singaporeans. So hopefully we can get a few medals and, make everyone happier.
And that was our very own strongman, so to speak, weightlifter Scott Wong there, speaking to Raj, and we wish Scott and Louis Chua the very best.
Now, on that note, we'll be going for a traffic update, but when we come back, we'll continue a look ahead to the Commonwealth Games as we hear from the table tennis team as well as shooter Martina Veloso. Time now for Traffic Watch.
Hey Singapore, this is Liverpool legend Ian Rush. For all your football news, stay tuned to 938 Live Sports.
Welcome back to the final stretch of SportsZone as we resume our preview of the upcoming Commonwealth Games. So let's not waste any time and get right down to business. Now, all eyes will surely be on the table tennis team this year following their impressive showing at the previous edition of the Commonwealth Games in New Delhi.
Well, that's right, Noah. They dominated the sport at the Games in 2010 and came back with 6 gold medals, which was the highest amongst all the sports that we were competing in. Well, I managed to speak to national paddler Feng Tian Wei recently, and I first asked her how the team had been training for the upcoming games.
Recently, it's okay. We'll be heading to Austria to train for 2 weeks. We'll be taking a more targeted approach in training. We'll be focusing on tactics and taking on specific opponents.
Tianwei, how have you been training up for 2 major events this year, given that you'll be taking part in both the Commonwealth Games and the Asian Games as well?
I must say it's tougher. We're taking part in more categories. I'll be participating in 4 categories in the Commonwealth Games. The same goes for the Asian Games. I would need to preserve my stamina during this period, then train more to build up my strength.
Now you've already won 3 titles this year. How has that boosted your confidence level so far?
It'll most likely build up my confidence level for the upcoming games, especially when I've obtained 3 championships already. Previously, I haven't won anything for a couple of years, so I'd say I have more confidence for games which will take place later.
Now, what's the main reason behind you winning 3 titles already?
I had to play many games previously, so there was lesser time for training. Before training for the World Championship this year, I trained in Taiwan for about 6-7 weeks. That period of time was very important for me. It's helped to keep me in form.
And have you been guiding the younger and the inexperienced members in the national squad itself?
We have a relatively newer team this time. Some players are taking part for the first time. I think this could be why everyone seems to be in high spirits. But some players are lacking in experience, so the coaches would keep a close watch on this aspect during our everyday training.
What are your main threats in the Commonwealth Games?
For the women's games, India is comparably strong. There's also Canada and England. These 3 nations are our stronger opponents for team games. But in singles and doubles, they have strong combinations too. We must be extra wary of them.
Now, you've won plenty of titles already in your career, including an Olympic silver medal. Do you feel that there's still room for you to grow your game, or have you reached your maximum potential already?
I feel that I can make it. I'm after all in what's considered the prime age for playing table tennis. So I have confidence in myself, and hopefully I'll be able to achieve new breakthroughs.
And that was national paddler Feng Tian Wei. Now also managed to catch up with Tian Wei's male counterpart in Clarence Chew. And I first asked the 18-year-old if he was feeling confident ahead of his Commonwealth Games debut.
Yes, of course. I think throughout the past few years, I've improved a lot in different aspects. But I think to be able to compete more frequently against higher level players, there's still a lot to work on.
Now, Clarence, you've since competed in many events in your career, including the Youth Olympic Games in 2010, the SEA Games last year, as well as the various international opens. Now, what's your opinion of your opponents at world level?
I think their standards are all quite high. I think many countries are gradually getting better. So, yeah. But we are also working hard.
Now, which part of your game are you currently weak in?
I think now the most important thing is to improve on my physical strength, because I'm playing against older players whose strength is they are more powerful and they are faster. So in order for me to match up against them, I think my physical strength is the most important thing currently.
Tell us about your mental conditioning, especially in finishing off your opponents towards the end of your matches.
I think the mental part, I think that has to be slowly changed through matches. So even if you are in front, you tell yourself not to loosen up and to fight for every ball.
Now, what are you guys currently working on in training?
Mostly is we do physical every day, and also we work on different tactics, I think, to play against different opponents, as well as working on some of our own skills that are lacking.
All right, and we are nearing the end of the show, but before we go, let's hear from national shooter Martina Veloso. The 14-year-old made people sit up and take notice of her when she won the 10 meters air rifle event at the ISS World Cup last month. And I'm sure many people will be expecting her to perform at the Commonwealth Games as well.
Now, let's not forget, Martina will be competing in the Youth Olympic Games this year too. Well, I spoke to Martina recently and I asked her how she felt to be able to represent the country in these two major events.
Feel very excited, but I cannot get too excited because it will kind of pressurize me, especially in the sports of shooting where it's all about mental games and stuff like that. So I will just do my best for both, and I really hope to fly the Singapore flag high.
So is it confirmed that you'll be shooting in the SEA Games?
Next year? It's not confirmed yet.
Now, how important are the Commonwealth Games and the Youth Olympic Games in your competitive schedule?
To me, I feel that it's that important. I look more forward to YOG because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, as it comes only every 4 years or so.
Now, this isn't your first time with Team Singapore, isn't it?
Not really. I participated in Asian Youth Games last year.
What events will you be shooting in?
Air rifle. Yeah, I'll be only participating in one event, air rifle 10 meter. There'll be only 20 people because it's fixed quota places. So, yeah.
Now, tell us more about your background.
I'm 14 and I study at the Singapore Sports School.
Now, with regard to school, are exams a hindrance to your training schedule?
Exams, I don't have to worry much about them because I'm in the school within school program where I train in the day and study at night. So even though I travel a lot nowadays, it's okay because when I come back I get to cope with my studies and I don't really have to worry about it.
And that was national shooter Martina Veloso. Well, that's all the time we have for you on SportsZone today. A big thank you to all the athletes for taking the time out to speak to us over the past few days. And we wish every athlete heading to Glasgow for the Commonwealth Games the very best of luck. Now, MediaCorp is the official free-to-air broadcaster of the 2014 Commonwealth Games. The daily coverage will take place on Channel Octo as well as on the online streaming platforms on Toggle. Coverage of the game starts next Thursday morning at 4 a.m. for the official opening ceremony. Till the next time, I'm Noah Tan.
And I'm Noor Farhan.
Take care and bye for now.